let's talk about some advice that gets passed around like gospel in the mixing world, but might actually be holding you back. In this video, we're gonna discuss 5 rules that get passed around like candy on Halloween, and I think that you should rethink them if you live by these. The first myth is to always low pass and high pass your mix bus to clean it up. Stop doing this. Seriously, that's not mixing, it's lazy problem solving. Your mix bus is where you polish things and not fix the fundamental issues with the mix. Now, if you're getting low end buildup or harsh top end, go fix it at the source, not globally. And a lot of people say the same thing with individual instruments as well. They say, always roll off the lows on guitars, but that kind of blanket advice can kill tone and actually lead people in a direction that's pretty harmful for the mixing industry as a whole. Now, guitars do live in the mid-range, yes, but don't start chopping things off just because somebody told you to. Use your ears. We're mixing here. It's art, and of course, every mix is different. There was talk going around years ago that like the human ear couldn't even hear these top frequencies that were rolling off or these low frequencies that were rolling off, and that we were just doing it to help our compressor do a little bit less work. And the truth is we can hear those frequencies, but why would you want to erase something that's not there to begin with? Sorry, not there to begin with. The next myth I want to talk about is to never boost or cut more than 3 to 4 dB with an EQ, and that's definitely a textbook take, and not a very good one. I actually learned this in college, and I was super surprised that this was actually in the curriculum. I still remember this like very, very clearly. Not all EQ problems are subtle. Some things require a lot of work. If something needs a big cut or boost, just do it. Surgical EQing is useful, but don't be afraid to go absolutely big when the sound calls for it. And I'm here to remind you that there's a good chance that no one is listening to your final mix and thinking, wait, did they boost 8 dB on 8K on that snare? No, they're probably not thinking that. If it sounds right, it's right. People hire you for your ear, not your habits. This is a super overused example, but CLA will boost 10 dB on a snare sometimes and it sounds amazing. Don't mix with your eyes, mix with your ears. Say it louder for the people in the back. The next doo-doo stinky poo-poo myth is don't compress more than 3 to 4 dB. I learned this one in school too, and it's wrong. Compress as much as you need. Compression is a creative tool and a dynamic controller. Early on, I was told anything more than, say, 4 dB of gain reduction was just too much, and that, a little goes a long way, which is true in most aspects. But here's what I've learned. If you want that super smashed vocal or drum tone, just go for it. And if you need lots of compression, but you still want it to sound somewhat natural, maybe try something like serial compression, where you have 2 compressors doing like half the work instead of one, just kind of brute forcing it all. As far as gain reduction goes, there is absolutely no magic number. Just do whatever sounds right. This next myth really pushes my buttons, and it's to never or always mix in solo, either or. And I don't think anyone is running to the hills screaming, hey everyone, mix your songs in solo. But there are definitely some weird takes out there going around about it, and I think it's awful. Mixing in solo can definitely mess you up if you're not checking things in context of the whole mix, which is the only thing that matters, right? Something might sound great soloed, but then totally buried in the track when you actually put it back in. But soloing is useful for some things. It helps you zero in on issues like noise, harshness, masking, things like that. But just don't mix in solo. Use it as a tool to kind of bounce in and out of context consistently, because that's what's most important, is the context of all the original elements. And finally, another take that just blows my mind is to always mix at a specific volume level. Now, unless you're a robot and you listen to music at the same level every time you listen to music, which would be really weird, I won't lie, you should be mixing at multiple volumes, quiet, medium, and loud. You don't need to obsess over your exact SPL with a decibel meter. That's overkill. Leave that one to the acoustic professionals and the scientists. The goal with mixing is perspective, right? Quiet mixing helps you balance things. Loud helps you feel the energy and kind of reference what it would sound like in maybe like a club environment, or, for all those people who turn up their volume all the way in the car while they're listening to music. My girlfriend. And a medium volume is going to give you a sense of realistic tone. And also switching between these is really helpful for another reason, because ear fatigue is real and it's not your friend. You know that point where your mix starts falling apart the longer you work on it and you just feel like you're doing more bad than good? That's ear fatigue. You need to take breaks, change your volume, and protect those ears at all costs. As an additional tip, I think it's far more important to mix to reference tracks of songs that sound good loud. A tool like this that makes A-Bing really easy is a plugin called Metric AB. It's not a Kiive plugin, but it is a superpower because it allows you to actually directly compare your mix to a reference track without like tabbing out to a streaming service or YouTube or whatever. It's awesome. But anyways, these so-called rules are everywhere, and sure, they probably came from somewhere, but blindly following these can probably hurt your mix more than it can help it. And we're all trying to grow as mixing engineers, so let's make sure we're staying on track. Trust your ears, learn your tools, and fuck it, dude. Break the rules intentionally. If this helped you at all, make sure you drop a like and let us know in the comments what other mixing myths that you've heard, because I want to do a follow-up video where we talk about the ones that you guys comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Kiive for having me, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya. Finger guns. Fucking stupid.